The attacks in Yelwata forces the world to pause and reflect on the carnage taking place in Nigeria's north central. In the early hours of Friday, June 13, 2025, more than 200 villagers, including 5 security personnel and internally displaced persons, were slaughtered by suspected terrorist herdsmen on Yelwata, a farming community in Guma local government area of Benue State. The killings mirror the violence which has become a normal in the geopolitical zone, with special reference to the Plateau and Benue states, though tensions between farmers, predominantly Christian, and herders, mostly Fulani, over land and grazing routes date back decades. The situation worsened in the 1970s due to environmental pressures, including droughts that forced pastoralists to migrate southwards. The proliferation of modern weapons has further escalated violence, turning local disputes into large-scale security threats with dire consequences. Wanton loss of lives, entire communities reduced to ruins, and the Middle Belt, a key agricultural region, has seen a decline in food production, exacerbating inflation and food insecurity in Africa. The situation is made worse by the obvious lack of capacity of the Nigerian government, who have been accused of lacking the political will to end the violence. It is also an indictment of Nigeria's security operatives, who are often accused of complacency or even aiding the aggressors. Only recently, the Nigerian army had made a show of the visits of the Chief of Army Staff to Benue State. Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede had met with stakeholders, but the killings persist. Matters are also made worse by the often insensitivity of the government or lack of compassion for victims. For instance, police operatives in Makodi dispersed protesters using tear gas during a demonstration over the renewed attacks in the state. For the sake of clarity, a major question by the protesters is how many more persons need to die before a wholesome action is taken by the government to end the killings in the North Central. In other words, Nigerians are calling on the government to live up to its constitutional responsibilities of promoting right to life and own properties. While yearning for good leadership and governance, Nigerians are also asking the government to hold perpetrators of violence accountable and discourage a climate of impunity. At a time when the world is showing exhaustion in humanitarian services, the newly inaugurated Pope, Leo XIV, seems to be the only international figure calling for peace in Nigeria. During his Angelus last Sunday, the head of the Catholic Church referred to the weekend's attacks in Benue State as a terrible massacre. He also prayed that security, justice, and peace will prevail in Nigeria, especially in the once peaceful Middle Belt, a geopolitical zone he had visited some years before his papacy. Ferdinand Roja, Arise News.